Part 67. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Hixie. Chapter 661. Chapter 661 Relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. It was obviously the gossip who said bad things about Yewi and was fired by Yezikin. Somehow it spread that Yewi was unhappy with a certain person and asked Yezikin to fire that person directly. Yes, only image instantly changed from beauty to beautiful person, but the latter is the kind of snake and scorpion. This matter somehow happened to reach Madame Yes' ears. A lot of things happened in just 1 hour. For example, Mrs. Yes suddenly came to the company. Attention, attention, the chairman's wife will be at the company soon. Everyone should be attentive and respond to the inspection seriously. God is my witness, they are absolutely not willing to see Mrs. Yes, because if a big boss level person comes here to inspect their work, they will have to prepare anxiously or find ways to deal with it. Who is willing to do this kind of laborious and unpaid work? But the reality seems to be somewhat different from what they imagined. After Mrs. Yes arrived, she did not inspect any work, but went straight to Yezikin's office. Hello, Madam Chairman. Good afternoon, Madam Chairman. People passing by greeted her, and Mrs. Yes also turned a blind eye and hurried past. Mrs. Yes' attitude did not make them feel rude, but they were extremely moved. Anyone who has stayed in the company for a while knows that Madame Yes rarely comes to the company in person, but if she comes, she will inspect their work according to very strict regulations. Everyone hopes that Madame Yes can ignore them, so that don't worry about your bonus being deducted. Although a gossiper was expelled just this morning, there are so many people opening their mouths that not everyone can control them. They quickly gathered together and whispered, "Hey, you see, the chairman went to Mr. Chen's office in such a hurry. Could it be because of Miss Jiao Li's matter? The chairman's wife didn't come here to check our work this time, but most likely because of the incident at noon. I have seen the chairman and Mr. Chen defend Miss Jiao Li, and before I don't know what the attitude of the chairman's wife is. Everyone likes to analyze complex situations like this, because 9 out of 10 cases can be corrected. After all, many things develop in the same way, and there are very few special circumstances. I don't know if you have observed carefully, but the chairman's wife didn't have a smile on her face when she came just now, which is definitely not a good thing. You are right, the person who comes is not good. Okay, don't say anything. The one who was fired at noon is a lesson for you. Be careful." Everyone murmured, but in the end no one mentioned it. Mrs. Yes went straight to Yezikin's office full of anger. Others guessed right, she went to Yewi because of the dismissal of employees at noon. As soon as Mrs. Yes opened the door of the office, she saw Yewi sitting leisurely on the chair, holding a book in his hand and reading. This look makes you feel as if you are enjoying yourself as the owner of this place. Mrs. Yes couldn't stand her appearance, so she walked over and coughed. Yewi looked up and saw Madame Yes. He was stunned for a moment, and then stood up. Mrs. Knight. She shouted this without honorific, but it was not impolite. Mrs. Yes was holding back her anger and could not speak directly due to her identity. "Jiao Li, what are the rumors about the company today? You have extended your hands to our Ye group. Today's exam, not much update, will be updated tomorrow." End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Hixie. Chapter 662. Chapter 662. The two have a parent-child relationship. I think you misunderstood the employee's dismissal. She left because of her own mistakes. I have never even seen that woman from beginning to end. But somehow the rumor spread. Of course, rumors stop at the wise. My explanation is very clear, and a smart person like Madame Yes should be able to understand it. Ye Wei was the first to finish the battle with 2 sentences, and his explanation was clear. If Madame Yes was still doubtful, she was a fool who believed the rumors. Mrsya was speechless by yes only 2 sentences. She used to think that the weak and easily bullied Yewaiwei was useless, but now his changed appearance gave her even more headaches. If you don't do anything wrong, don't be afraid of ghosts knocking on the door. If you have a clear conscience, why do you need to tell me so much? I'm just explaining the reason, I don't have any other ideas. She has said everything she needs to say. If Madame Ye still doesn't want to believe it, what can she do? Now being able to talk to Madame Ye calmly on the surface is for Yezikin's sake. By the way, Yezikin. Pei Yuchen almost forgot about sending her the results. She took out her phone, lowered her eyes, and quickly clicked on the photo that Pei Yuchen sent her. She slid her finger to the place where the results were displayed, according to the DNA result analysis, without considering the interference of multiple births, close relatives, and external influences, the two people had there is a parent-child relationship. Although she had speculated, when she actually saw the result, the shock in her heart was like a chill that instantly hit her whole body. The hand holding the phone shook. Mrsya looked at her dissatisfiedly, as if she had said something rude. Ye was the only one who couldn't listen. Such an exciting truth was suddenly revealed, and I'm afraid it's unbelievable even to say it. She raised her head and glanced at Madame Ye. She saw Madame Ye's gorgeous and noble clothes and her arrogant and confident look, which was the aura that the hostess of the Ye family should have. When I lived in the Ye family, I had always heard Mrsya say that Yezikin was the only heir of the Ye family group. I didn't expect that there was a big secret hidden in it. Mrsya happens to be here, why don't she take the opportunity to test a few words? Mrsya, you always say that Yezikin is the only heir to the Ye group, is that true? She carefully observed Mrsya's expression. If there was any sign of guilt, she should be able to detect it. But when Mrsya heard her question, she could only sneer and feel proud of herself. Taunting her for asking a stupid question and not bothering to explain at all. Because for Madame Ye, Yezikin is her pride. Indeed, there is no guilty conscience or any other abnormal reaction. If it was just pretending, it would be too powerful. Or maybe her question was not clear enough and Madame Ye still couldn't understand the meaning. I mean, are you sure that Yezikin is Ye Hantian's son? Chiao Li. Although you have a grudge against our family, I have always felt that you are somewhat sincere towards my son. What do you mean now? What unpleasant words do you want to say to slander my son's identity? You are such a person, it's simply ulterior motives. Mrsya is really angry. Ye Weiwei took in her series of reactions, raised the corner of her mouth and smiled slightly. Since the wife of the chairman of the Ye group does not welcome me so much, there is no need for me to stay here. She passed by Mrsya and put her fingers on Mrsya's shoulder. What did the little bell do in the end? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 663. Chapter 663. Did you hold the wrong child? The current identification result is that Yezikin and Mosi are related, but it is not known whether Yezikin is Madame Ye's biological child. Judging from Madame Ye's performance, can we make a bold guess that Madame Ye actually carried the wrong child? That night when he told Pei Yuchen his doubts, the tangled expression on Pei Yuchen's face was difficult to express in words. I have tested Mr. Mosi before, but Mr. Mosi told me very definitely that he has never had a woman or a child. Mr. Mosi will not lie about such a thing. Mosi is definitely a man who is responsible for himself. He does not allow his life to be chaotic. If there are women and children, even if he does not like them, he will shoulder his due responsibilities. It's really strange, two people who are obviously not related to each other, why are they related? The key thing is that they had no previous relationship. Ye Wei took out another Ziploc bag and gave it to him. Here is Madame Yes hair. There is only one strand. Be careful. When she took out this thing, she thought that she and Mrs. Ye almost had a dispute in the office before, but she suddenly left because she saw a piece of hair on Mrs. Ye's shoulder and took the opportunity to take it away. Pei Yuchen nodded, okay, I know what to do. If Mrs. Ye and Yezikin are not the biological mother and child, then it is very likely that they got the wrong child. If Madame Ye and Yezikin are biological mother and son, then she still needs to get something from Yehantian for verification. Things like blood relationship are really important to them. Be careful, don't let the accident like the identification certificate being taken away happen again. I know, I will be careful this time to make sure nothing goes wrong. Pei Yuchen took Madame Ye and Yezikin for paternity testing, and felt that the waiting time for the results was so long. She can't stay in S City all the time. It's really tiring to travel back and forth between S City and G City every week. However, there were so many things that troubled her, and she might miss something if she wasn't paying attention. That night, Ye Wei and Xiaoziun made an appointment to have dinner outside the school. When they walked to the school gate, they unexpectedly saw a tall and mighty, senior brother. Senior brother is carrying a large backpack and staring at his mobile phone from time to time. Today he is also wearing a t-shirt that is different from his usual style. Ye Wei thought he looked familiar at first, but he took a few glances before he dared to confirm his identity. Why is senior brother here? Ye Wei whispered her doubts, and Xiaoziun, who was holding hands, looked around and asked her where her senior brother was. Ye Wei gave her a look, and then Xiaoziun focused his eyes on his senior brother. Xiaoziun pushed up his decorative glasses and said, how come senior brother has transformed? He is dressed like a classmate in our school. If you ignore his fierce aura, he looks like a college student returning to school. Seeing his senior brother who was different from usual, Xiaoziun pulled her forward excitedly, let's go over and say hello. Yezi subconsciously grabbed her, don't go yet. Why? Xiaoziun didn't understand what she meant. Ye Wei leaned in and whispered into her ear, elder brother is actually quite shy. Since he didn't call me when he came here, it means he didn't come to see me. We should know what's going on if we wait a little longer. Ye Wei said this with a special meaning, and Xiaoziun nodded in cooperation. The two of them squatted together, and then they saw. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 664. Chapter 664 Confession failed. A woman is so well dressed and beautiful because she wants to please her appearance. It turns out that boys are like this too. Oh, so we're here for a date. A man and a woman stood at the school gate and they made an appointment. When they saw the specially dressed Leng Rugjio walking towards the senior brother, they instantly understood what was going on. It seems that I can let the senior brother treat me to dinner next time. Xiaoziun clapped excitedly, as if he had already thought of what he would eat to kill the senior brother severely. There is an unwritten rule in the dormitory that a person who is in love must treat everyone in the dormitory to dinner. Yezikin's feast was impeccable for them. Luo Yuxi has always been single. Xiaoziun, it has not been a year since school started, but each of her boyfriends should add up to as many as 5 fingers. As for Leng Rugjio, she is not a promiscuous person. What happened to the funder was an accident, and the funder should be eating in prison now. Leaving aside the matter of the benefactor, Leng Rugjio's life is very regulated. In addition to studying, she also works part-time. Even if someone gives her a number of enemies, she will refuse directly and never play ambiguity. It is precisely because of this that Ye Wei has never objected to the relationship between senior brother and Leng Rugjio. I just hope that everything will be as happy as one wishes. But Ye Wei never expected that he would receive a call from his senior brother 3 hours later. The voice on the phone was weak and his tone was strange. The senior brother was not harsh with her or lost his temper, but those words were very inconsistent with the usually active senior brother. "Sir, where are you now?" "I'm at the gate of your school." Ye Wei was about to go back with Xiaoziun, so the two people who were enjoying themselves quickly hurried back. At the entrance to the school, Ye Wei took a look around and saw a larger figure sitting under the tree. Ye Wei said a few words to Xiaoziun and walked over alone. Looking at the man who was sitting under the tree and looking down at the ground, Ye Wei tentatively called out, "Elder brother." The senior brother raised his head suddenly, as if he was frightened by the sudden shout. Ye Wei squatted next to him and asked doubtfully, "Elder brother, what are you doing sitting here alone?" The senior brother silently took the backpack from his back, opened the zipper, and took out all the contents bit by bit. Lollipop. Spicy strips. Little puppet. What other financial books are there? Ye Wei expressed doubts about his behavior. "Elder brother, what are you doing?" So it turned out that that big backpack contained these things. The senior brother replied, "Little junior sister, it's useless for me to hold these things, I'll give them all to you." Ye Wei blinked. She was quite sure that these things were not bought specially for her. Elder brother had a date with Len Ruggiu in the afternoon. He left in pleasure and came back disappointed. Something must have happened. Ye Wei pretended not to know what happened before and just asked him, "Elder brother, did you buy a backpack of things and give them to me specially?" The senior brother scratched his head, feeling embarrassed to lie to his junior sister. "I was going to give these to someone, but that person didn't want them, so I thought of giving them to my junior sister." "Oh, so it's my turn to collect what others don't want." No, junior sister, don't get me wrong, I didn't mean that. That is. Confession failed. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Hixie. Chapter 665. Chapter 665. Who do you really like? I'm very sorry. Why are you apologizing? This is my wishful thinking and has nothing to do with you. Ye Wei bit her lip and sighed. She just wanted to tentatively inquire about the situation, but she didn't expect the senior brother to tell her so bluntly. The confession failed. These 4 simple words really hurt my heart. But since the senior brother is so frank, she can ask more questions along the way. "Are you confessing to Swexiu? How do you know?" "You'll know with a little more care if you don't mind, senior brother, you can tell me the reason." "I don't know. She was fine when we went out, but when I confessed to her, her expression changed instantly." The senior brother also imitated Len Ruggiu's cold face, but it was nothing like it. The senior brother grabbed the remaining things in his backpack and asked himself, "Is it possible that she didn't like the things I gave her, but she was rejected before I even opened the backpack?" The senior brother scratched his head in distress. He felt like he was going to collapse. Just collapse a little. Because it was the first time in his life that he mustered up the courage to confess his love and was rejected. He was not very good at coaxing people, and he didn't know what stalking after his girlfriend meant. He only knows that being rejected means that he is not liked. The eldest brother described the whole process intermittently. Ye Wei heard it half understood, but he also had a general understanding. The eldest brother deliberately changed his clothes and brought all kinds of things that girls might like to go out to dinner with Len Ruggiu just to take the opportunity to express his love. Len Ruggiu didn't refuse his invitation, which made him feel that he had a chance, but he didn't expect that he would be decisively rejected when he mustered up the courage to confess. In the end, the senior brother did not think about why Len Ruggiu agreed to the date but refused to accept the confession. He kept placing the blame on himself and said, "I must have made a mistake." Ye Wei puffed up his cheeks and put the snacks that his senior brother had just taken out into his school bag. Elder brother quickly stopped her movement. "Little junior sister, I don't give you these things because I don't want to give them to you that others don't want. I just thought that you are here, little junior sister, so I gave them to you. Elder brother's words were a little clumsy, but it didn't affect Ye Wei's ability to understand the meaning of his words. The senior brother always took good care of her, and she never doubted his care for her from the beginning to the end. But those polite words are not necessary to explain. Ye Wei directly carried the entire school bag over and said, "Since it is the heart of the senior brother, of course I will accept it. Since you are willing to give me everything, senior brother should not be reluctant to part with the school bag, right? Of course I'm willing to give it up." Senior brother waved his hand without hesitation. "If junior sister likes it, you can take them all." "Then thank you, senior brother." Ye Wei's series of unkind actions made the senior brother feel very comfortable. He smiled and touched his forehead, feeling a little silly. Ye Wei pulled out a slight smile and waved goodbye. But the moment he turned around to see senior brother behind him, the smile on the corner of his mouth disappeared completely. Xiaoziun, who was waiting on the side, hurried over. As the two walked together, Xiaoziun asked a few questions. Ye Wei gave a simple explanation and suddenly turned around and said to Xiaoziun, "It's not easy to meet someone you like. So, if one day you really like someone, you must hurry up." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 666. Chapter 666. We have no future. Why do I feel like you have something to say? Haven't I been looking for my Mr. Right? Xiaoziun turned away his eyes, as if he was deliberately avoiding something. Ye Wei shook his head. "It doesn't count like you. The reason you don't care about them is because you don't really like them." Wow. I invite the emotional master to speak. Xiaoziun smiled deliberately and covered up the topic about himself with a joke. Ye Wei pushed her arm. "I'm telling you something serious." Xiaoziun patted her shoulder and nodded in agreement. "Okay, I understand, thank you, honey Chiao. I am sensible." "That's good. Perhaps it's because of his relationship with Yezikin. The only relationship that Ye admires is to be devoted and devoted until the end." She weighed the backpack she was carrying, her eyes hiding unknown emotions. She didn't take off Lengrugjiu either because she didn't know how to appreciate it, or because she had some reservations. If the former is for taking advantage, she guarantees that Lengrugjiu will not have an easy time in school. If the latter feels that she is not worthy, she must also contribute to the happiness of her senior brother. Ye Wei took his school bag back to the dormitory and put it on the table in the middle. "Hey, these are snacks given by senior brother, let's share them with everyone." Xiaoziun also cooperated with her and said with a smile, "Yes, Kiao's senior brother is so generous. He brought a lot of snacks. He really understands girls' thoughts." They both paid special attention to Lengrugjiu when they said these words. But Lengrushui was sitting on the bed and closed the curtains, so they couldn't see Lengrushui's expression at the moment. Ye Wei sighed. Xiaoziun waved her hands helplessly and shook her head. Ye Wei took the snacks to Lengrugjiu's bedside and called her name specifically. "Shuexiu, these are snacks sent by senior brother. See what you like." After a while, she heard a cold voice coming from inside the curtains, which was rejection. "Need not." With these two short words, she seemed to be able to imagine how uncomfortable her senior brother felt when his confession was rejected. Ye Wei took a step back and said, "Shuexiu, can you come out for a moment? I want to talk to you." But Lengrugjiu refused without hesitation this time. "Sorry, I'm sleepy." The implication is that she wants to sleep and does not want to talk to her now. Ye Wei really doesn't understand her. The past things have passed, but she still refuses to talk to anyone, even herself, who has helped her in that way. But if you want to know the truth, ask the person while they are in a mood, because when they come to their senses, the conversation in their brain will have a clear meaning, and it will be more difficult to tell whether it is true or false. Swexu, what I want to say is very important to someone, can you think about it? The only words left in the night. She didn't get a response at first, but soon after, she heard the sound of Lengrugio turning over in bed. Soon, Lengrugio appeared in front of her, fully dressed. In other words, Lengrugio never changed clothes at all. And those eyes. Even though it was covered up, traces of crying could still be seen. It seems that one of her guess options can be eliminated. The two of them walked to the corner outside the bedroom, and Lengrugio remained silent. Ye Wei sighed deeply and told her directly, I know everything about you and senior brother. Lengrugio nodded, not surprised. Why refuse? You are not indifferent. If there is no future, there is no need to start. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 667. Chapter 667 finally got married. Ye Wei and Lengrugio stayed alone for about 10 minutes before returning to the dormitory. Ye Wei was worried because she suddenly found that none of her friends around her were in pairs. It's wired. From her point of view, the feelings are very clear, why can't they be together? When she was extremely conflicted, she could talk freely to Yezukin. Since high school, those people thought that Enran and Kitano's puppy love was just for fun, but I know that Enran took that relationship seriously, but they could not be together. Enan and Mengzi were childhood sweethearts. Enan liked Mengzi, but Mengzi regarded her as his sister. Brother Nangong and Li Yulai, everyone thinks they like each other and they are a perfect match in every aspect, but they are not together. And what's more, she has had so many boyfriends but never found one she really likes. There is also Luoluo, although she also has a selfish side, she is actually not bad, but everyone always treats her at a distance because of her appearance. Count them in detail from smallest to largest. Why don't the people she knows get married? Is there some curse that prevents everyone from being happy? Ye Wei told Yezukin everything he wanted to say sentence by sentence. A gentle voice came to my ears, I don't know if other people have magic spells, but you have me, and I can give you whatever you want. What she wants includes happiness. Two people are far apart but seem to be close at hand. The haze that originally covered the warm sun was swept away. Her happiness can actually be very simple. Fate is something that is difficult to explain. A lot of times, you can only rely on yourself. Yezukin patiently listened to what she said, accepted her worries, and then carefully enlightened her. The last wish is just for her, don't be unhappy. In fact, her mood improved a lot after being enlightened. She heard Xiaoziun accidentally tearing off her earphones beside her to reveal the sound of music. Having an idea, she also made a request to Yezukin, brother, can you sing for me? Unexpectedly, the man refused in a very dishonest manner and simply said, no. Why are you like this, you want to make me happy? He. A series of doting laughter passed into her ears, how could the word crisp be so special? The man stopped teasing her and asked directly, what do you want to hear? Ye Wei held her chin up and said, can I still order some songs? Brother, your service is really good. I think it's all right. After I sing, will you sleep well? Okay, I promise. Yezukin picked an English song. The upright and magnetic English accent has an intoxicating feeling. The melody of the music is very slow, with a kind of tranquility and gentleness like a long stream of water, which gradually calms the mood of those who hear the singing. Sleep peacefully throughout the night without any dreams. She got up very early and saw Luo Yuxi preparing to go out for a morning jog, so the two of them went together. After running around the playground 5 times, I was already sweating profusely. I'm so tired. Ye Wei put his hands on his knees and panted. Luo Yuxi was even worse than her, but Luo Yuxi was panting and had to express her will intermittently. I must stick to it this time, I want to lose weight. Luo Yuxi ran around again and shouted domineeringly to Ye Wei when she came back, let's go back and take a shower. Ye Wei smiled, almost forgetting the previous grudges. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 668. Chapter 668 is the relationship between mother and child. 3 days later. Pei Yuchen got the paternity test results of Mrsya and Yezikin. The non-mother exclusion rate was 0.9999999. After the test, it was confirmed that they were biological. Mrsya and Yezikin are biological mother and son. There is no need to doubt the truth. Pei Yuchen immediately made a suggestion, Miss, if we spread this news, the Ye group will be greatly affected. Then we can take the opportunity to overwhelm Ye Hantian, and we can also avenge the Chiao family. Don't want. Ye Wei directly denied it without thinking. If Ye's scandal is exposed, Yezikin will also be most affected. Pei Yuchen immediately frowned, seemingly dissatisfied with Ye Wei's reaction. Miss, are you denying it because of Yezikin? Ye Wei subconsciously avoided that answer. I just need a perfect solution. At least we have to figure out the cause of this matter first. Pei Yuchen also agrees with this approach. He weighed the 2 test reports in his hands and said calmly, the most important thing now is to do a paternity test on Yezikin and Ye Hantian. Only by comparing the 3 identification results, you will know the truth. At that time, the direction of their pursuit will be clearer. Ye Wei nodded. When I return to City S, I will find a reason to meet Ye Hantian, and then find an opportunity to obtain her things. This week has passed. Ye Wei returned to S City on the weekend, and Ye Hantian has also returned from a business trip. During the time when Ye Hantian left Yes Group, most of the company's affairs were left to Yezikin to handle with full authority. Not only did there not be any mistakes, but he also achieved quite good results. Although the Ye family husband and wife have different feelings, they are very satisfied with their son with outstanding abilities. An old shareholder who has been friends with Ye Hantian for many years was full of praise. You are really better than your master. You are a good son. I believe that the company will develop even better if I leave it to him in the future. Shareholders of the company were full of praise for Yezikin, and Ye Hantian also tried his best to cultivate Yezikin's independent ability. However, Ye Hantian never wanted to praise Yezikin in front of him. Ye Hantian checked the recent successful project records of Yes Group. Generally speaking, they were profitable. However, one contract was not completed, so Ye Hantian took advantage of every opportunity to point out the mistakes. Why was this order broken? Double compensation was required. Yezikin took a brief tour and explained in a leisurely manner, Father, these compensation amounts are just a small amount. Using the same time to earn profits from another big project is much more valuable than this one. Ye Hantian did not agree with his approach. Ye Hantian thought, the two can obviously be done at the same time. Yezikin was unwavering in his choice, and said it eloquently, I have made actual determinations, and it is not as profitable to disperse the same energy as to focus on selecting a big project. Although Yezikin's decisive decision made Ye Hantian appreciate it, his sonorous and powerful rebuttal made Ye Hantian feel that his authority was being challenged. Ye Hantian immediately criticized Yezikin, saying, young and energetic. Self-righteous. That night, the only one who walked out of the elevator and walked outside the chairman's office heard the last words. She is also concerned about the situation of Yes Group. During this period, Yezikin clearly handled the affairs of the Ye Group very well. But why is it that Ye Hantian, a father, refuses to encourage me and insists on finding fault with the eggs? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Hixie. Chapter 669. Chapter 669, Protect My Man. Dong dong dong. I knocked on the door to interrupt Yehantian's rebuke to Yezikin. Ye only appeared in the Ye group, and both of them were surprised. Yezikin passed by Yehantian, put one hand on Ye shoulder, and asked in a low voice, "Why are you here?" Ye raised his eyes, looked at him with burning eyes, and admitted unabashedly, "I'm looking for you." Yezikin touched her head, and the two of them interacted intimately and naturally, as if there were no other people around. "I know that my brother has been working very hard recently, so he came to see you as soon as he had a holiday and invited you to have a big meal." Yezikin deliberately brought up Yezikin's hard work for the company in front of Yehantian. Even though she didn't want to see Yehantian, she knew that Yezikin would feel uncomfortable after hearing what Yehantian said, although it had little impact. Yehantian saw that he had been misunderstood by Ye, and he raised his fist loosely to his mouth and coughed twice. Ye sneered in his heart and was not willing to face Yehantian at all. Because every time Yehantian saw her eyes, she was disgusted and resisted. However, while venting her anger for Yezikin, she still remembered the primary purpose of her visit today. Hair in the cold night is not easy to take care of. Otherwise, accidentally cut the skin and use blood. No, 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 if she takes Yehantian's blood, then she has to take Yezikin's blood. How heartbroken it is. Denying this option directly, she can still pretend what she is thinking on the surface. "I was so impulsive just now. If Yezikin was around, she wouldn't have the guts to make any small moves unless Yezikin left." "Dong dong dong, Mr. Chen, there is something here that needs you to handle personally. Just now, I was praying in my heart, but the next second, the secretary knocked on the door to attract Yezikin's attention." Ye was overjoyed. However, Yezikin held her hand and wanted to take her out together. Having no choice but to follow Yezikin for a short distance, he temporarily slipped aside on the grounds of not disturbing your work. She did not appear directly in front of Yehantian this time, but quietly slipped into Yehantian's office. She wanted to find an opportunity to start from behind. Yehantian may have just returned from a business trip and was dealing with a series of things. After reviewing a plan, he took a nap on his desk. Ye seized the opportunity and took out the sharp scissors and silently cut off a few strands of Yehantian's hair. She grabbed those few hairs excitedly, and before she could slip out, Yehantian had already woken up from her sleep. Yehantian is strict with his work, and even he is not allowed to doze off during working hours. He straightened his back and started working, with Ye hiding behind him, unable to move forward. "Oh my God!" Ye sighed inwardly. "If Yehantian has been sitting here, how will she get out?" And Yezikin also called to see her. Fortunately, she had turned off her cell phone before, otherwise she would have been discovered. Ye sent a text message to Yezikin saying that she was in the bathroom, but time flew by so quickly that she couldn't stand her excuses. What to do? I felt panicked and suddenly couldn't make up my mind. If she can't get out again, Yezikin will definitely open a location to find someone. By chance, the cleaning lady also walked in at this time. The sweeping lady cleans very carefully. She sweeps, wipes, and touches everything without any fuss. As soon as he lifted the curtain, he saw Ye standing there. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Hixie. Chapter 670. Chapter 670 Yezikin's doting tenderness. Ye, who was hiding behind the curtain, quickly raised his finger to his lips and gestured to the sweeping ant. "Hey, why is there a person here?" Who would have known that the sweeper's roar would completely expose her? Yehantian, who was concentrating on business matters, suddenly turned around and saw Ye Wei standing awkwardly next to the curtain. Yehantian was stunned for a moment, then his eyes darkened. Go out. As soon as Ye Wei heard those two words, she quickly raised her feet and walked out, but before she could reach the door, the office door was closed. Yehantian said, I'm not asking you to go out. The sweeping lady pointed at herself, looked at Yehantian and then at Ye, and finally left silently with her broom. Tell me, why are you hiding in my office? Facing Yehantian's direct question, Ye Wei shook his head. Yehantian snorted, are you looking for information? Just like the stupid thief Pei Yuchen did last time. He bluntly taunted Ye with what he wanted to say. After a long time, Ye did not refute. It is considered as default that I will steal the information myself. Yehantian didn't want to raise tigers to cause trouble. From today on, your pass card is invalid. Ye was the only one not surprised or stunned when he heard the sentence, he just accepted it quietly. For her, getting Yehantian's hair for a paternity test is the most important thing at the moment. If Yezikin is not a child of the Ye family, then for Yehantian, it should be a critical blow second only to the destruction of the Ye family group, right? The only time Ye was kicked out, Yezikin appeared in time and took her away. Ye Wei got all the hair of the two of them and found time to make a handover with Pei Yuchen. Now he had to wait for the result. With the experience of the first two times, this time. But more nervous than before. Whether Yehantian and Yezikin are related by blood is related to many people and many things. If they are not related, then they can really be sure that Yezikin is MOC's son. Although they don't understand the reason, at least the results in their hands can prove the truth and uncover more weaknesses of the Ye group. Ye Wei focused on tracing the truth, but accidentally left out a certain aggrieved giant baby boyfriend. Yezikin was quoting her, "Little Lingdang, you seem to have been hiding something on your mind lately, don't you want to tell me even about it?" "Ah, oh. It's not that I don't want to tell you, but I can't tell you now. Brother, you have been waiting for me for a while. I have to find out the truth of some things." Ye Wei did not reveal the real reason at all. Every time she raised her head, she hesitated to speak and felt guilty, afraid of seeing the disappointment in Yezikin's eyes. But there is no. Yezikin did not get to the bottom of it, nor was he disappointed by her reservations. Instead, he looked at her with doting eyes and gently brushed her long hair. If little Lingding doesn't want to say anything for the time being, don't say it, and don't embarrass yourself anyway. If you need anything, just tell me. Yezikin is clearly telling her, you can do whatever you want. Remember to come back to me when you need help. I will always be there to protect you. The only thing that felt warm in my ears at night. Neither Mr. Chiao nor Pei Yuchen understood why she was influenced by Yezikin every time. This is the reason. Yezikin's tenderness towards her is not a superficial phenomenon, but accumulated over time and deeply rooted in people's hearts. I really hope he is not a child of the Ye family. End of this chapter.